Hello, this is Dr. Mary Harp Sheets, the chair of the Board of Psychology Licensure Committee, and I would like to call this meeting to order. It is 10:05 a.m. Ms. Whitney, can you please call the roll?
Morning. Harpsheet?
Here.
Nystrom? Here. Tate?
Here.
Quorum is established.
Thank you. I am happy to welcome all the attendees to today's Licensure Committee meeting. Before we move to public comment for items not on the agenda, I would like to share a few logistical items. Please turn your cell phones and other devices to silent, and also please mute your phone unless you are speaking. If you are attending today's meeting and would like continuing professional development credit, Mr. Polk will let us know now how you will receive credit.
Thank you and good morning. Good morning. Attending today's committee meeting provides you with CPD credit under category number 1, attendance at a California Board of Psychology meeting. For your CPD records, please notate today's date as January 31st, 2025, and note that we are here for the Licensure Committee meeting. At the end of today's meeting, I will announce how many hours will be credited for attending the full meeting. For attendees who join by phone by calling the U.S. toll number and use the access codes, please send an email to the following email address, bopce@dca.ca.gov. Again, the email address is bopce, as in Board of Psychology Continuing Education, @dca.ca.gov. In the email, please provide your name, license number, and the phone number of the phone you called in from. Attendees who signed in using a computer or mobile device from the WebEx link, your attendance is automatically documented and no further information is necessary as your name and email address is recorded upon joining the meeting. For attendees who are in person at the teleconference locations, the attendance sign-in sheet provided will be the record of your attendance. Please sign in and sign out as needed for today's meeting. Again, at the end of the meeting today, I will announce how many hours will be accredited for attending today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Polk. So as indicated, we have allocated time for public comment for items not on the agenda at the beginning of our meeting. And additionally, we welcome public comments for any item that is on the agenda, and it is the committee's intent to ask for public comment prior to taking action on any agenda item. Public comments are instrumental to our meetings, adding to the vibrant discussion on matters before the committee. In making a public comment, please do not identify any licensee or registrant of the board by name or any individual issues or specific licensure application or qualification questions in order to avoid prejudicing future action that may be required of board members in our capacity as a deliberative body in enforcement proceedings. Specific concerns need to be addressed directly with board staff. Note also that any written comment received is added to the written record for today's meeting. Please be respectful of our time constraints and the need to conduct and complete the committee's business. There will be a 2-minute time limit on each speaker to ensure maximum participation by all in the context of a busy agenda. The moderator will give each speaker a 30-second reminder. Now, I would like to ask for anyone who would like to make public comment for items that are not on today's agenda. Mr. Moderator, could you open that box?
We are open for public comment on items not on the agenda. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of your screen. Dial-in users will need to dial *3 to raise their hand. And for our mobile device users, you may need to hit the ellipses button, that's the ... in order to find your hand. There are 3 different pages and only one of them has that hand button. As stated, everyone will be given 2 minutes to speak, and I'll give you a 30-second warning before your time expires. And our first request is coming from Francis Baugertman. I apologize if I mispronounce your name. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone. Baumgarten. All right, Francis, I'm going to send you a second request to unmute your microphone. If you're not seeing the request to unmute, hit the ellipses button. That's the ... at the bottom. I see you're on a mobile device, and you're going to need to change pages. All right, we're going to move on to Janet Farrell, and we'll come back to Francis in a little bit. Janet, if you're available, please unmute your microphone. All right, Janet, we're going to send you a second request to unmute your microphone. All right, 2 in a row, not a great sign. Let's move on to Lisa Gunderson. I'm sending you a request to unmute your microphone. Hi, Lisa, are you with us?
Yes, I can. I'm here. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, go ahead, please. You have 2 minutes.
The question I have is with regard to, I will preface this by saying I'm an African-American psychologist, and part of our licensure requirements are around issues concerning DEI. And I am just wondering, with regard with what's happening with the current administration, I want to know what the board is going to do to assure that we will still maintain our requirements to serve all of our clients in an appropriate way. So I'm just laying that out there, if that could be picked up for a later meeting or something like that. But that's my concern, is
Thank
that
you.
we can be asked to have that removed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gunderson. Thank you very much. Mr. Moderator, I wonder if we're having a problem with people's microphones unmuting. Could it be a logistical problem on our end since we were having some earlier issues?
I don't suspect so.
Okay.
Clearly, we heard from one already.
Yeah.
Let's try again. We're going to circle back to Francis. Francis, we're sending you a request to unmute your microphone. If your hand is up by mistake, feel free to put it down. Otherwise, oh, I see you're unmuted.
That looks like Dr. Farrell's unmuted.
Dr. Farrell, are you with us?
Yes. Can you
All
hear
right,
me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. My name is Dr. Janet Farrell. I'm from the San Diego Psychological Association. I'm here today to request that the Board of Psychology take on the task of monitoring and communicating with ASPPB as they develop the new EPPP as it pertains to the fees they intend to charge. The licensing committee is the logical committee within the Board of Psychology to take this on, given that the EPPP is the licensing exam. When representatives of ASPPB appeared at the Board of Psychology meeting in November, which I attended in person, they reported that they plan to roll out the combined EPPP within the next 3 to 5 years. They pledged to make the EPPP a single one-day test. However, they did not pledge to keep the price comparable to what it is now, which is already high at $687 each time an applicant takes it. With the overall pass rate at 37.6%, this means that many applicants will take it more than once, paying double and triple that amount. This financial burden falls especially hard on applicants from underrepresented groups. Ideally, the ASPPB should not only keep the fee for the EPPP at the same level, but also lower the cost to retake the exam. As evidenced by their financial statements, the ASPPB can certainly afford to do this. The main reason the ASPPB did not follow through with their
30
plan to
seconds.
force the states and provincial boards to use the EPPP Part 2 in order to continue to use the EPPP Part 1 was because of strong public protests from the boards of the states, most prominently Texas, but also Louisiana and several other states. I am requesting that the licensure committee of our California board be in communication with these other state boards to determine how best to advocate to the ASPPB on behalf of our entering California psychologists. And I am requesting that the licensure committee take on this responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Farrell. Hey, Mr. Moderator, would you like to try Francis Baumgarten again?
One last time.
Okay.
Francis, we're sending you a request to unmute your microphone. Again, you may need to hit the ... button at the bottom.
Sorry for the confusion. I think I was trying to get onto your mic before when everybody was having difficulty. So I do not have a question at this time.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. No more public comment. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Okay, again, I would like to welcome all attendees to today's meeting of the Board of Psychology Licensure Committee. And as I have described, you will have an opportunity to comment on each agenda item we will be discussing during the open session of our meeting, and we will take public comment prior to acting on any agenda item. We will now meet in open session as noted on the agenda, and then we'll move into closed session to discuss and consider qualifications for licensure. We will not be discussing any items in open session after the closed session of business concludes. The meeting will be adjourned at the end of the closed session portion of the meeting. We will now move to agenda item 4, which is review and possible approval of the Licensure Committee meeting minutes from July 19th, 2014. Committee
This is Board Member Nystrom. I would move to adopt the meeting minutes from July 19th, 2024.
Okay, second.
And I'm happy to second that motion.
Thank you, Dr. Tate. Okay, Ms. Whitney, will you, we will open up for public comment. Does anyone have any public comment on the possible approval of the Licensure Committee meeting minutes from July 2024? Okay.
This is the moderator. We are open for public comment via WebEx. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand. We will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment on the meeting minutes. Seeing no request, you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Okay, Ms. Whitney, will you call for the vote?
Harbsheet?
Aye.
Nystrom? Aye. Tate?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. We will now move on to staff reports, which is item number 5. And Ms. Dong, can you please give us the licensing report in 5A?
Thank you, Dr. Harpsheet. Good morning, committee members and attendees. My name is Mai Zong, and I will go over the licensing report, starting off with new legislative and regulation update as background information to the licensing report. We have Senate Bill 815 or SB 815, which transfer the administration and enforcement duty relating to the registration of the research psychoanalyst and student research psychoanalyst from the Medical Board of California, also known as MedBoard or MBC, to the Board of Psychology, effective 1/1/2025. As of yesterday, we have successfully transferred all research psychoanalysts and student research psychoanalysts record into the Board of Psychology brief system. As far as application workload, we have not received new application for the research psychoanalyst and student research psychoanalyst. So there is not much data to share for those recently acquired license type at this time. Eventually, we will include additional data such as workload and processing times for the research psychoanalyst and student research psychoanalyst initial application and upcoming licensing reports. And then in addition, we also have an active psychological associates registration that was also effective 1/1/2025. And for background information, we did not have an inactive status for PSB registration previously. And per regulation, the PSB registration is limited to 72 months or 6 years. In a situation where a PSB is temporarily without a supervisor or unable to provide psychological services, they are not utilizing their PSB registration, the time the PSB registration is on active status, that time will count toward the 72-month limitation. So previously, we only have the option for the PSB registration to cancel their registration if they want to stop the clock toward the 72-month limitation. So with an active registration now, that will stop the clock towards the 72-month limitation as well. And then, so moving along to the attachment for the licensing report, in attachment A, as of January 10th, 2025, there are 2 PSB that were approved for inactive status. For more recent data, I checked this morning, and we currently have 7 PSB who have been approved for inactive status. And then for the new license type that were transferred from MBC, we have 72 research psychoanalysts and 21 student research psychoanalysts in current status. At the time the report was generated, we were still in the process of manual data conversion, but for the cancel status, we have 29 total research psychoanalysts and canceled status and 39 student research psychoanalysts and cancel status. And then moving on to attachment B, that's the application workload report. There was an increase of the exam eligible for each OP application in October and November of last year, but the number of applications jumped back down to the average of low hundreds in December 2024. For the complete retake application, I just want to clarify, you will see a higher number in the first month of each calendar year quarter due to the reason that candidates are only allowed to take the complete once each quarter. So retake requests are not approved until the next quarter if the candidate made an attempt in the recent quarter. The data for the psychological associate is pretty sporadic. For the psychological testing technician, there seems to be a decrease of initial application from July to December. We are not quite sure the reasoning behind that, but the decreased trend is also similar to our psychological associates, where the application appeared to decrease during the holiday seasons. And then for attachment C is the application and notification reports for application and notification that were received from January 2024 through December 2024. And in comparison to the same 12-month period in 2023, there is a decrease of 97 psychologist application, 109 psychological associate application, and 77 psychological associate notification. Then last but not least, we have attachment D, which is the average application processing timeframes from August 2024 to January 2025. And from the data provided, there has not been any significant changes on the licensing processing times. That will conclude the licensing report, and I will be glad to answer any questions.
I would just like to congratulate you all on taking on these new responsibilities and at the same time not seeing an increase in application processing times. I think that really speaks to the organization of the licensing unit and the commitment. So thank you very much for that. Committee members, any comments you would like to make?
No comments from me, except great job. I agree with Dr. Harpsheets.
Ms. Nystrom?
Oh, sorry, no comments from me either. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Moderator, could you please open the box for public comment?
We are once again open for public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand. And as a reminder to our mobile device users, you may need to hit the ellipses button. That's the ... in order to raise your hand. We're going to take just a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. All right, Deborah, I see you've asked a question in the Q&A. I can answer that separately. Hold on just a moment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue?
I'm looking at the question in the Q&A, and I can read out that question. How do we get the stats and meaning she just stated about psychoanalytic research analysts? And maybe Ms. Xiang can answer that for us.
Of course. So that will be on the attachments, and those attachments for the licensing report may be retrieved from the board website. If you go to the Board of Psychology, and at the top, they will have an About Us link. Then click Meeting Calendar. Then there'll be a list of the 2025 board meeting. And under Licensure Committee, there will be materials. And click on the materials link, and that will bring up the licensing report attachment.
And I will post the link in the comments.
Oh, thank you,
David.
Okay. Okay, let us move on to item 5B, which is continuing education / professional development and renewals report from Mr. Polk.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Included in the meeting materials are the reports for continuing professional development and renewals. In attachment A, you'll see that there's the percentage of renewals that were submitted online versus mailed in. The last quarter of 2024, 98% of renewals were submitted online, with approximately 2% of renewals that were mailed in. These percentages are similar to the previous months for online versus mailed in, which are also included in attachment A. This is also on par for previous years, where there was a slight increase in renewals submitted online versus mailed in the last 3 months of previous years. In attachment B, shows the percentages of the types of renewals processed. In 2024, an average of 78% of psychologists renewed as active. The retirements count for approximately 3%, which is the average of the full year of 2024. And psychological associates account for an average of 13% of the monthly renewal applications. Attachment C is the breakdown for the continuing education audits from June of 2023 to January of 2024. The average pass rate stands at 89%, with an average of 5% of audits that failed after full review of all documents submitted. The average of 22% reflects audits that are deficient, which includes audits that are pending submission of requested documents or further requested information. Audits were put on hold due to the staffing of the CPD coordinator vacancy, which has now been filled, and staff is projecting to continue with audits in the early part of next month. This is an informational item, and with that, that includes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, committee members, do you have any questions?
None for me, thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
And for me either. Thank you.
Okay, could we please open the box for public comment?
We're open for public comment via WebEx. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue?
Yes, please. Thank you. Okay. We will go to item 5C, which is the examination report. And Ms. Hanson, please.
Good morning. The examinations report memo that details the 2024 examination statistics is included in the meeting materials. Overall, the EBBB pass rate in 2024 averaged 37.61%, with the overall first-time pass rate of 60.4%. First-time pass rates do tend to be higher than overall pass rates. And as a point of reference, in 2023, the overall pass rate was 39.8%. So in 2024, we're just slightly lower than 2023. The overall complete pass rates for 2024 averaged 80%. And the overall first-time pass rate is also 80%. In 2023, the overall pass rate was 78%, so we're slightly higher this year than last year. So this is an informational item, and if there's any questions, I can try and answer.
Okay. Any questions from committee members?
None for me, thank you.
Okay. Okay,
I'm here,
Mr.
Ida.
Potter. Ms. Nystrom, was that you? Do you have any question?
Sorry, no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Moderator, can we then open the box for public comment, please?
We are open for public comment on the final portion of agenda item 5. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no requests, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, please. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to item number 6, which is barriers to telehealth survey follow-up. And I'd like to ask Ms. Chung if she could give us a summary of where we're at on that item.
Absolutely. Good morning, committee member, and thank you, Dr. Hartsheet. This is a follow-up item from the last board meeting where the licensure committee recommend for the board to move forward with their recommendations. So the committee actually met and discussed this item at the February and July meetings last year. So the recommendation is to create a one-page reference document that would include the background of the barriers to telehealth survey, what kind of follow-up actions taken, and the link to the APA telehealth guidelines. This recommendation was adopted by the full board at their August meeting last year. So in the attachment provided, you will see the reference document draft for the committee to review and discuss if there's anything else that the committee would like. Hand back to you, Dr. Hartsheet.
Thank you. Yeah, I would just like to add that I identified several others options that we could add, and one was a link to the ASPPB information on telepsychology, one from the NIH, and then 2 on our website, which is our regulations, and then the FAQs on our own website. And I think my thoughts were, along with the APA guidelines, that would be a comprehensive one-pager for people considering offering telepsychology services. So committee members, what are some of your thoughts? Do you have some other ideas?
I like your idea of adding the other links on that. And I'm happy to make a motion that would include your suggestions, Dr. Harpsheets, if you're
Okay,
interested in that.
I would like that.
I'd like to move that we add Dr. Harpsheet's suggestions of links for telehealth practices. I think she referenced NIH, ASPPB. I'm missing one.
And two links on our website, the general
Oh.
regulations and the FAQs.
Perfect. Add that, and we take this reference document to the board.
Okay.
This is Nystrom, and I'll second.
Thank you. Okay. Could we open the box for public comment on this item?
We are open for public comment on this item in the motion. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, do you wish to continue with the motion?
Yes, please. Ms. Whitney, could you please call for the vote?
Harpsheets?
Aye.
Nystrom? Aye. Eight.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on to item number 7, which is a NACCE's presentation on foreign degree evaluations. And Mr. Gage will be flipping the slides that we will see on the screen. I would like to welcome Yezi Shah, who is the chairperson of NACCE's, and we will hear about how the various NACCE's organizations evaluate degrees received from foreign doctoral institutions and compare them to doctoral degrees in the United States. Mr. Moderator, were we able to have this person promoted to panelist?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
We have Yeezy, and we have a host of other people with us. David
Okay.
Flores, Kenneth, Judy, Justine, Daniel, David, and Talia.
Oh, okay. Great. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for coming and sharing this information with us.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Yezi, and I'm the director of ERES. I also have the privilege of serving the chairperson of NACCE's this year. Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm honored to represent NACCE's in this presentation to the California Board of Psychology. Since many of you are already familiar with NACCE's, I will keep the introduction part brief and highlight a few key points. And can I have next, guys? Thank you. What is NACCE's? So NACCE's stands for National Association of Credential Evaluation Service. We are professional organizations that promotes best practice and the highest standard in the evaluation of for academic credentials. Can I have next, guys? Thank you. And why choosing NACCE's? Because we have the highest standard of evaluations. NACCE's member follows strict guidelines to keep evaluation accurate, fair, and trustworthy. And members are well-versed in global education systems. Every NACCE's agency have a deep experience in international education system, that including grading scales, credential structures, entry requirements, and more. Also, we're trusted by institutions and the license board. Evaluation conducted by the NACI members are widely recognized and accepted by education institutions, professional licensing board, and employers across the United States. Another most important is we believe independency and objective are the backbone of evaluation agencies. So members are required to be independent and free from clients or third-party influence. So we're ensure impartial evaluations based on academic records only. Okay. How NACI's member add values. Each NACI members have their own expertise and approach to evaluations. With deep research, extensive database, and years of experience, we make sure foreign credentials assist fairly and accurately. By sharing resource and the knowledge, we help maintain the credibility of evaluation, making it easier for applicants to get licensed and recognized professionally. Okay, can I have the next slide? Thank you. Being a NACI member means joining a trust network of credential evaluation expertise. NACI's agency follows strict guidelines to ensure evaluation are accurate and fair. What set NACI's apart is deep global expertise. Members understand different education systems and how to compare foreign credentials to the US standard. The collectivity credibility helps applicants get their credential recognized and give decision makers confidence in the evaluation they received. NACI members also work together to combat fraud. If a member identifies fraud records, we all share that information across the network to help protect the integrity of evaluations. And most important, NACI is all NACI is all about maintaining high standards, share expertise, and ensure fair, well-informed evaluation for students and the professionals around the world. And by selecting NACI members agency, both applicants and professional board can be comfortable in the integrity and reliable of credential evaluations. Okay. Each agency bring a distinct approach to the evaluation process, but they also stick on NACI's high standards, making sure psychology doctoral degree are received accurately. So today we have a total of 4 members presenting, and they are ERES, Educational Records Evaluation Service, located in California, EP, Education Perspective, located in Illinois, FACS, Foreign Academic Credential Service, located in Illinois, and also TEC, the evaluation company, located in New York. Next, we're going to have David with us today to present on behalf of ERES.
Thank you, Yezi, and thank you, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I'm David Flores. I'm Dr. David Flores, and I'm an evaluator and director of the Americas and Western Europe Department Educational Records Evaluation Service. If we can go to the slide, I believe it should be the next slide, please. Thank you. So I will be talking about how we evaluate international credentials, specifically how they relate to psychology doctoral degrees from other countries at Educational Records Evaluation Service. At ERES, we use a comprehensive evaluation methodology to evaluate degrees, foreign degrees, that is based on international education standards, best industry practices, and is aligned with U.S. academic benchmarks followed by institutions of higher education in the country. The key aspects of our model include, first, accreditation verification. We confirm the degrees are issued by an accredited or recognized institution in their country, and that it's accredited by a higher education authority or the organism that is officially required to accredited programs and institutions, and that this accreditation is equivalent to institutional accreditation in the US, or what used to be called regional accreditation here in the US. Second, we look at the programs. We review the foreign doctoral programs in terms of their structure, their admissions requirements, and their curriculum, determine that these are equivalent to doctoral programs in psychology in the US. We examine the coursework by verifying that core psychology areas are included in the program and that the program curriculum aligns with a similar program in the US to determine its equivalency. And for programs that include supervised practice, we assess the practicum, internship, or supervised professional experience that is included in the program and that meets the licensure requirements for their country. Or next slide, thank you. How do we obtain our documentation that is the basis for review? At ERES, we use this documentation to determine the equivalency, and this documentation is obtained directly from the institution, hospital, or authorized training facility where the candidate completed their training and obtained their degree, as well as their applicant. We require that all documents must be original and issued by the appropriate authority. And these documents can be sent to us by mail, or they can be provided through digital sources through official platforms. The documents that we use and that we get as the basis for reviews include transcripts and degree certificates, which can be sent directly by the issuing institution to ERES or through verified digital platforms, or they can be provided directly to our office, where they will go through a thorough verification process to ensure their authenticity. We do require the documents in their original language, and if the documents are not issued in English, candidates must provide certified translations performed by a qualified and accredited translator, or alternatively, at ERES, we also offer in-house translation services to ensure accuracy and consistency in interpreting these academic records. In some cases, when necessary, we also request additional materials such as course syllabi, program catalogs or bulletins, accreditation certificates, in order to be able to get a full view of the program. For programs that include clinical practice summary hours, we collect this information directly from the school, hospital, or other facility where the clinical or practical training was conducted. And we also rely on databases, both our own databases of global institutions, and we also leverage international educational resources that are widely used in the industry and by institutions of higher education, such as the World Higher Education Directory, EDGE from ACRO, in order to validate the legitimacy and the program quality and the equivalency of these programs. Next slide, please. How do we handle the documents that are sent directly by candidates? First, we conduct an initial review. We always use original documents, so we securely store them, and we review the documents to ensure that they're completed. Next, if the official documents were not received directly from the institution that awarded the documents, they will undergo a very thorough verification process to ensure their authenticity by our evaluators. This involves ensuring the documents are authentic, comparing them against verified samples and cross-referencing institutional records that are similar, and we examine them to ensure that they contain the expected information. For example, that they're awarded by the correct and appropriate institution, that the signatures look to be appropriate, the education officials are the ones that we expect to see in those records. And then we also perform a direct institutional verification where we contact directly the educational institutions or the licensing authority to confirm the authenticity of the credentials. In those cases, when we contact directly the educational institutions or licensing authorities, we require that candidates complete a verification form that authorizes us to make this request and the institution to release this information of verification to us. Next slide, please. And as it relates to psychology doctoral degrees, our process is essentially what I just described, but we also want to emphasize the degree verification process, where we confirm the degree is from an accredited institution and that this accreditation meets the standards set for a regional accredited institution in the US, and that meets the requires the field specialization. We also analyze the program's curriculum to verify compliance with US doctoral standards and ensure that the content is similar to a US doctoral program in psychology. We review the documents for the official transcripts, course descriptions, supervised practice components. We ensure that the program meets professional licensure requirements. The applicants must provide their dissertation or thesis for review to ensure its relevance to the field of psychology. And this step for us is crucial in verifying the academic and professional rigor of the program and its alignment with US standards. To determine the equivalency evaluation, we consider such factors as the level of study, the program duration, the admission requirements, the course structure, the curriculum, what the program leads to or provides access in the country, and other relevant criteria to ensure that this is similar to what a US doctoral program in psychology would do. And we provide a detailed report. Our reports are comprehensive and they outline the degree, its equivalency, the institutional accreditation that the institution where it was completed in the country of origin is, the program details, and its relevance to US standards, mainly that it's equivalent to a degree that is awarded by a regionally accredited institution in the United States. We're also committed to tailoring our evaluation reports to meet any specific requirements of the California Board of Psychology if we need to add any additional information to our reports that might be beneficial for the board to make their determinations. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and thank you.
Thank you, David. And next, we're going to have Ken with us today to present behalf of Educational Perspective. Thank you.
This is the moderator. I just found somebody with their hand raised who is possibly Ken.
Thank you. I didn't see his name here.
Okay, am I unmuted now?
I hear you.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Welcome, Ken.
Thank you. I represent Educational Perspectives. I'm the president of the organization. EP has been in operation since 2002, and we've been a member of NACES since 2003. The majority of our work is for credential evaluation for licensure in professions and also for admission to higher education institutions. We provide a variety of credential evaluation reports. I think the one that's most appropriate for the California board would be a course-by-course evaluation. In addition to that, we have translation services. We have a certification report that we prepare that is specifically just for the verification of international credentials. And we also do reports that are institutional program evaluations, which are primarily for institutions that need to compare whether a program is a good match for perhaps a partnering situation with an institution in the U.S. We also provide significant amounts of workshop training programs and professional development training for credential evaluators who want to learn how to do the work that we do. EP is a nonprofit organization, and so we're very focused on the public service mission of assisting organizations and individuals who want to learn credential evaluation work. So our course-by-course evaluation report is a detailed listing of all the courses completed at the post-secondary level. It includes the name of the institution attended, the credential that was awarded, the length of the program. There is a grade average that's included on there, which is important in many cases. The number of credits that are completed in terms of their U.S. equivalent credits. The accreditation or recognition of the institution is included on the evaluation report. Importantly, there's a U.S. equivalency along with the detailed listing of all the courses. Our reports are based on official academic records, and they need to be sent to our office by the issuing institution. And we provide this documentation requirements off of our website for applicants who need to find out what's required from their particular country of study. In situations where programs have been completed a long time ago and they may not be official records sent directly from an institution may not be available, we will accept original documents with the understanding that these will have always, in every case, a direct verification back to the issuing institution. In addition to that, we require official translations, English translations of all non-English documents that are submitted for evaluation. We also have a translation service as part of our organization, so applicants can choose that service as well if they don't have translated documents. More information about our service can be given at gotten at info@edperspective and off of our website. That is all I have to say. I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Followed by FACS, we have Justin today. Hello,
Hi.
Jess. Great. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Justine Watts, and I am the Executive Vice President and a Senior Evaluator at Foreign Academic Credentials Service. I also have the pleasure of serving on the board of NACES as Secretary. I'd like to thank the California Board of Psychology for having us today. It's nice to be able to make this presentation for you. Just a very quick introduction to FACS. We were founded at the request of a professional board. From our founding over 40 years ago, we've worked closely with professional boards to develop tailored evaluations meeting their specific needs. For an example, excuse me, we developed specialized formats for over 40 boards of accountancy, working with them closely to ensure that our reports accurately provide the exact information they need and that they're in the format that they prefer. Our clients include professional boards, higher education institutions, employers, individuals, et cetera. Regarding training, we're committed to the ongoing education of our evaluation staff, and all evaluation staff are members of and attendees of TISEP conferences. That's the Association of International Credential Evaluation Professionals. They made that short and sweet, huh? And they attend additional ongoing training, both in-house and via outside organizations. We also ensure we're up to date with changes in the international education environment through our memberships and subscriptions, with both U.S. and international associations focused on global education. And from our founding, our mission has been to provide clients, including professional boards, with accurate, independent, and unbiased evaluations of international education as it applies to their requirements. I'm going to introduce Judy Kupsky. She's our Director of Evaluations, to take the next Next slide.
Hey. Hi, everybody. My name's Judy. I'm a senior evaluator here at FACS. I'm not going to repeat what everybody's already kind of gone through because that's basically we have the same kind of outlook on documents and document requirements, it seems like. So I'll talk a little bit about making sure that institutions and programs are recognized, and knowing that if it is not a recognized institution or recognized program, we don't evaluate that education and pass it on to you. It just stops right there.
If you could go back one slide, please.
Oh,
there you go.
Sorry about that. Okay. So yes, institutional recognition, which often changes from year to year. So it's important that we get up-to-date information. Possibly somebody went through a program that was not accredited in 1982, but it is now. So we need to do the history work on that degree program. Also, some countries, the PhD degree, all degrees are programmatically recognized rather than recognized by a larger entity in the country or the state. So then we need to look closer at the program and again, make sure that it was recognized during the time of attendance. Let's see, legal document verification, we already went through that. So program accreditation, program length, we need to compare that to a US standard and look at the entry requirements, what that degree is then used for in the home country. Possibly that degree does not allow them to do some professions and only very certain ones. We look at those laws and rules of that particular country and then express that in our evaluation. Let's see. That might be just about it. I think I've talked about all those. Okay, next slide, please.
All right, I'll take back over just to confuse things. We have an extensive resource library. We have over 40 years of source documents from institutions around the world. We also use industry standard resources. These have been mentioned, they're on the slide. And we use these as the lens by which we review the transcripts and certificates of the applicant. At the evaluation level, as Judy mentioned, we review program documentation, including entry requirements, program length, inclusion of practical hours. Additional program and course information is requested directly from the institution or the ministry responsible whenever appropriate. As this was started by my father in 1982, he felt additional information was always appropriate. You can imagine the resources we've collected over the decades. Regarding documentation, we only work with official documents. And what does that mean? Well, these are documents that we verify as issued directly from the authorized entity at the issuing institution. Translations must be prepared by an appropriately certified translator, and original language documents are always required to ensure that our assessment is accurate. Many times you'll find translation agencies will provide English language translations of documents. It's not a good practice, so we always try to look at the original language. Next slide. Great. We discussed our history with professional bodies and licensing boards, and we're happy to tailor an evaluation report for your board. Some of the advantages we have is we're very approachable. Our evaluation staff and our administrative staff is available at any time for questions about particular courses or programs, or honestly about just general systems of education questions. In addition, we make available to our clients and the boards that we work with, when they would like an administrative portal. Of course, the clients always have their direct portal, but we can offer an administrative portal to help track applications and such. Thank you very much for allowing us to come to your meeting, and we appreciate the time you've given us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Justine and Julie. So followed by TEC, we have Daniel, David, and Talia.
Hello, so I'll be presenting for the evaluation company along with my colleague David Wimmer. So we are originally Spantran, established in 1982, and we've been a member of NACCE since 1996. We offer a variety of different services, including credential evaluations, document verification, and certified translations. We are also a trusted evaluation partner to thousands of different institutions, including universities, colleges, and a variety of state boards. We serve several different markets, which include higher education, evaluations for employment, licensing boards, along with immigration.
Yeah, so I'll speak a little bit to the product that we offer. You've been hearing a lot about equivalencies and how different NACCE's members come to their equivalency determinations. So I won't really belabor the point, but we do essentially start out with a complete set of documents. The way our model works is we allow our clients to submit documents on their behalf, like on their own, on our applications or on our portals. Following that, we require that these documents arrive directly to us from an official source. That official source could either be mailing the document directly from the office of the foreign institution to our office. It could be through an email, which we do accept electronic verifications. We do vet those electronic verifications, including requiring official institutional email accounts with security features and regular reviews against spoofing and other malpractice. And we also verify documents directly with issuing institutions. Of course, we require certified translations for all documents that are originally written in other languages, along with that original language document. At the evaluation company, we do employ both a benchmarking and a year counting model for determining our equivalencies. What that means is we're looking at the total number of years within the educational system that education represents. And we're also trying to determine the benchmark, what that education represents in the home country. That's by paying attention both to the home educational system as well as requirements for professional licensing where applicable, as in this case. Following that, we also, of course, look for institutional accreditation. Does the institution have comparability to what we would term as regional accreditation in the US? And then is the program comparable to a certain degree, for instance, a doctoral degree in psychology? Specifically, that's basically our process. So I'll hand it back to Talia and we can continue on.
Thanks, David. Next slide, please. So this just goes into a little bit more about our customizations that we can provide for our clients, one of which is a client portal where institutions can download our evaluations securely, and members of that organization are able to communicate with our team directly through chatter feature, and it will help keep all the evaluations organized through this dashboard. We also create institution-specific landing pages to help applicants select the right kind of evaluation that's required and provides them with a discount on the cost. This connects directly to our institutional portal just to help automate things again. And these just go into some testimonials.
Right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. That will wrap our presentations, and question will come.
Sorry, I just realized I was muted. Thank you very much, everyone, for the presentations. And I'd like to open it up to committee members. If you have any comments or questions of these representatives from NACES.
Thank you for coming. The licensing committee does rely on these equivalency reports, so thank you for coming to explain.
Ms. Nystrom, any comments or questions?
Just thank you for coming. It was very informative, and I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunities.
So I do have a question. As Dr. Tate mentioned, we do rely on these evaluations. And I know one of Mr. Flores or Dr. Flores mentioned that you look at specific courses that people submit. And, you know, in the US, it's most, our doctoral degrees, I'm going to make a general statement, in psychology are very course focused in general. And sometimes I have observed from other countries that they might be more research focused. So I wonder if any of you, but maybe particularly Mr. Flores, could speak to how you would determine equivalency when you see that kind of a difference.
Of course, and thank you for the question. We would definitely look at, like I mentioned, we do a comprehensive evaluation. So we take into account many different things to determine the equivalency. So definitely coursework would be one. And in the case of very heavily research programs, we would definitely take that into account. Every case is different, so I can't provide definitive answer. You know, there's some programs that have some coursework and research. There are some that are more research based. So we take that all into account. We also take into account, as I mentioned, one of the things that we consider is the dissertation. We consider what the dissertation was on, what is the content of the dissertation, what's the field of the dissertation, because that sometimes can give us information about what the field of specialization of that particular program is. And based on that, we would make a determination on whether it could be considered equivalent to a U.S. Doctoral program, or it could not be considered equivalent to a doctoral program in the U.S. That is also a possibility if we see that the content is not what we would expect from a program in the U.S.
How do you factor in, any of you, how do you factor in, for example, American Psychological Association accreditation and those kinds, the kinds of coursework or the kinds of requirements that in order for a program here to achieve that level of accreditation, how might you factor that into how you evaluate these foreign degrees?
May I respond?
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, thank you. So I would distill your question into there's sort of two different things going on here. The first thing is determining whether a degree, and we, like I said before, we use sort of a benchmarking perspective, meaning, is this a doctoral degree in the country in question? Is it recognized? So part number one would be, is this a doctoral degree? What is the field of study? Is it psychology? Check mark. So if a doctoral program from a recognized university in psychology, we would say if it meets those requirements, it is equivalent to an earned doctorate or a doctor of philosophy or whatever it might be in the US. The second part, which is a service we offer to specifically to licensing boards, is determining whether that recognized degree then meets the requirements of that licensing board. And that varies based on the definitions set forth by the board and the laws that govern, professional licensure. So in those sorts of scenarios, we might ask that the institution prepare a form that indicates all coursework in certain areas meeting requirement X, requirement Y, requirement Z. And they can fill out that form and say how many credit hours or how many clock hours were involved with each of these individual requirements. And that would allow us then to take a standardized form, review that form, and determine against the criteria that we are aware of for that particular licensing board, does that meet the requirements or does that not meet the requirements of the board? And that again is sort of independent of whether or not the degree is a recognized doctoral degree in psychology. Again, this is our approach. That approach might vary between other agencies.
So if I understood you correctly, you were saying that if you receive a transcript that indicates in this other country that it's a recognized doctoral degree, that you will accept it as a recognized doctoral degree in the US, and then you take it to the next step and say, okay, how, does it meet the licensing board?
Precisely.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question. This is Judy Kupsky with Facts. It's a general question in that do U.S. institutions that provide PhDs in psychology strive to meet those APA requirements in their program?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
In California, we do not require graduation from an APA accredited program for licensure in this state, although there are other states in this country that do require that in order to be licensed in that particular state. We do not.
Okay.
But I was asking about that as sort of just an idea. If you use any of that as kind of a guideline to compare in any way.
Sure. Only again for facts, only if we're kind of given those guidelines by the licensing board, then we're happy to do that. But in general, no. But yeah, if we have specific guidelines, of course, we could definitely do that.
Okay. Committee members?
Board Member Nystrom?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, hi, Dr. Herbsheets. This is Board Member Nystrom. I do have one question, and I will preface this question by saying I'm a public member, and so I'm a little less, up to speed on some of the coursework and requirements and that information. But if I'm an individual who is seeking, who would use your service? Is it us as the licensing board, or if I'm an individual who has my degree and I'm trying to show that it is valid in California, could I individually use your service, or is it just a service for a licensing board to use? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can answer that, Ms. Nystrom. Basically, any applicant to our board who has a foreign degree would need to pick one of the NACCES members, and there are quite a few of them. And we also include National Register of Psychology Providers, and they would pick one and have their degree evaluated, and as part of their application process would submit that information to us. And if Ms. Chung would like to add anything to that, I would appreciate that.
Thank you, Dr. Herbsheets. I think that's accurate, and just want to highlight that why NACCES and National Register is because that's what our governing statute authorize our applicants to get evaluation from. Thanks.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then just one other follow-up question is if I understand this is for a foreign review, but if there is somebody within the U.S. who is trying to validate their credentialing and degree to be able to test in California, could they additionally use this service to verify their credentials?
I don't think it would be helpful to them. Unless Ms. Chung has some perspective, I don't think it would be something that would be helpful for them in the process of their degree evaluation by our licensing group.
I actually haven't
Okay,
come
thank you.
across. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Moderator, could you please open the box for public comment?
We are open for public comment on the several presentations we just listened to. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. As a reminder to our mobile device users, you may need to hit the ellipses button, that's the ... in order to find your hand. We're going to take just a few more seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, please. Well, I would like to thank all of you for taking the time, for being with us and giving us more information about how you approach these foreign degree evaluations and sharing a little bit about each of your organizations. So thank you so much for taking that time to be with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We will move on to item number 8, which is the stakeholder meeting. And maybe if Ms. Chung, could you please give us some background on what we will be discussing today?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Hartsheet. This is also a follow-up item, so I would like to highlight some background first. At the board meeting back in October 2019, the board voted to co-host a stakeholder meeting to solicit input on how to best inform consumers regarding the respective roles of the 3 professions with the Board of Behavioral Sciences, the Commission on Teachers Credentialing, and other relevant stakeholders. But this plan was postponed because of the COVID-19 state of emergency at that time. So the Licensure Committee met in January and July of last year and recommended to the board to convene this stakeholder meeting in the afternoon of the upcoming July meeting this year. And the board voted to adopt the recommendation at the August meeting last year. So in preparation of the meeting, this time the committee will be planning to discuss about the survey questions, what they want to be included to ask stakeholders before the stakeholder meeting. So the questions would be surrounding areas about any confusion that they have experienced, and then also to identify stakeholders who would be appropriate to participate in the meeting. And that is the background, and I'm going to hand this back to you, Dr. Hartsheet.
Okay. Perhaps, well, committee members, how would you like to start? To discuss survey questions or first identify potential stakeholders? I just leave it to you. What seems most logical?
Either one works. So take it away, Dr. Hartsheet.
Okay, well, I would like to start with identifying potential stakeholders to participate, because I think that's always essential to make sure we get everyone. I mean, the 3 organizations that have already been identified, the Board of Behavioral Science, Commission on Teacher Credentialing, and I think, we'll have people from our board are critical. And I would think maybe CPA would be, California Psych Association. Any other organizations that come to mind that we would want to include?
You just took mine. I was going to add CPA to that because I think that would be crucial in the discussion.
Yeah. Would we want? Go ahead.
I'm actually interested in hearing public comment about organizations that we're obviously missing. That would be
yeah. I
helpful
wonder
to
if would we have would we want maybe the professional organizations like CAMP from Board of Behavioral Science or that kind of, do you think?
No, I think that'd be appropriate. It's the equivalent of CPA for us. So,
Yeah. Okay. Um,
I don't know the equivalent for the teacher's credential, the Commission on Teachers Credentialing,
yeah. Yeah.
but I'm sure there is probably an equivalent there as well.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe we could take public comment about this portion of the item now, and then go back to the survey part and then take public comment on that.
Sounds
So,
good.
yeah. Okay, Mr. Moderator, could you please open the box for public comment specifically on input regarding stakeholders that might be appropriate to participate in this meeting?
Absolutely. We are now taking public comment on everything that was just asked for. Please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand. And it looks like our first request is coming from Dr. Elizabeth Winkleman. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak, and I'll give you a 30-second warning before your time expires.
Elizabeth Winkleman with the California Psychological Association. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. It's impossible to tell from this side. First of all, thank you for including CPA in the stakeholder meeting, in your plans for the stakeholder meeting. We appreciate that and would definitely want to participate. I also wanted to suggest, in addition to organizational representative, to include a psychologist who's actually practicing in the field of educational psychology or school psychology, so someone who is actually expert practitioner. And I do think that there is probably, I'm not familiar with them, but an association for the licensed educational psychologists. And just to, if you can clarify, are we looking just at teacher credentials, LEP, and psychologists, or is it all the master's level? Because like CAMP would be the marriage and family therapist, but if that's not one of the degrees that we're looking at, I would think maybe the BBS plus the LEP and CCTC representatives. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we are looking also at those master's degree level people too, because that was one of the issues that came up when we initially discussed this in October of 2019. The titles of different positions were confusing for people. Okay. Do we have any other public comment?
That was our only request for public comment at this time.
Okay. But I thank you for that idea too, on a psychologist practicing in the field. I think really in each of the positions, in educational psychology at the master's level, at the teacher credentialing level, and at the doctoral level, I think would be important too. Okay. Any other comments from committee members?
No, not at this time, but I wanted to say thanks to Dr. Winkleman for throwing some more ideas out there for us. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about possible survey questions that regarding confusion that maybe they hear from amongst themselves, but also among the public. You know, who does what? Who can we call for what? Who should we stay with for what? And so thoughts on that?
I think your thoughts that you just said were a good starting point. I think consumers get confused about who does exactly what and when should they move on to a different type of provider, and when is very confusing for consumers.
Yeah, yeah. People, I think, generally start with somebody, get that need met, but have a subsequent need and don't like the idea of moving on when in fact maybe that first person wouldn't be the best person to serve that secondary need.
Exactly.
That's important. Yeah. Okay. Ms. Nystrom, any thoughts on that?
I was wondering if maybe just terminology to be clear on therapy versus counseling versus psychotherapy. Sometimes I think they're used interchangeable, and that can be confusing to individuals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really good point. Something about clarifying terminology and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's open the box for public comment.
All right, we're going back to public comment on this topic. And our next comment comes from Lisa Gunderson. Hold on just a moment. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak, and I'll give you a 30-second warning before your time expires.
Hi, I think I raised my hand too late on the last piece, so I'll just blend them together. I'm just wondering about the use of kind of a flow chart in terms of things like terminology. You know, if this is your situation, yes, and then the appropriate people in that space, I think could be quite helpful. I also think it would be helpful, and this will link to your first question about stakeholders, is bringing in cultural stakeholders, for example, ABPSI, like the Association of Black Psychologists, or, you know, Association of Psychologists with Disabilities, because oftentimes, coming now to this question that you have with regard to survey, they'll be able to think about different pieces that we would miss. So in that flow chart, for example, or in language translation, how we think of a therapist, how we think of a counselor, etc., you know, that could be how we're distinguishing that across languages becomes important.
That's
And
great.
so again, I would consider bringing in some of our minoritized communities into the conversation, and then think about things like flowcharts that would be helpful to people for clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you very much for that input. Very helpful.
And that was our only request for public comment at the moment.
Great. Okay. So, I have a logistical question now. Is this something we need to vote on, or will this be something we would just share with the board or bring back to the board? Maybe we could ask Mr. Payne what our next step should be.
Good morning, Chair. I would just recommend we bring this back to the full board, but there's no action that's needed for the committee at this time.
Okay, so we will include that in our licensing report to the board at the next board meeting then.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Okay. And committee members, are you okay with moving on?
Yes, I am. And thanks to everyone for public comment. Very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the last agenda item on our open session is recommendations for agenda items for future licensure committee meetings. So committee members, do you have any items you would like us to include?
This is a comment and a suggestion, but not necessarily for here. I found the comment earlier today about the DEI questions very interesting, how it pertains to the board, but I'm thinking that it might be more appropriate to bring that to the full board instead of keeping it in the licensing committee.
Yes, I would agree. That makes sense. It's really important for our board to address. Okay. we open the box for public comment, again, for recommendations for agenda items for future licensure committee meetings.
We are once again open for public comment, this time on agenda item 9. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. And our first request is coming from Dr. Elizabeth Winkleman. Hold on just a moment. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Hi, it's Elizabeth Winkleman again from CPA. I'm afraid I'm going back an item if you'll allow it. But I looked back, I was at the 2019 meeting. I don't know how many people were. Looking back at my notes, I'm pretty sure that it was about the respective roles of licensed psychologist, licensed educational psychologist, and individuals holding a credential with a specialization in school psychology. So I think perhaps it would be good to clarify with the staff in terms of what the stakeholder meeting is. And of course, it's up to the licensure committee. If you wanted to make it a broader discussion, I think it would be a very much larger discussion than looking at psychologists who work in the schools, LEPs, and people with the credential in school psychology. So I think those are really two different types of stakeholder meetings, one with a much broader scope. And the initial 2019 meeting was really about how comes another profession who's not doctorally educated is called a psychologist, and that licensed educational psychologist, and that was the particular area of confusion. So again, I would leave it to the board staff to clarify the scope, and then of course to you as the committee to how, I'm sure you can broaden it, but just for a point of clarification. So thank you, and I don't have any other items to add for future meetings at this time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Winkleman. I was at that meeting also, and my recollection was that this would be a broader discussion at the stakeholder meeting because of the concern regarding that level of confusion among the public. So, but it will be an interesting conversation at the board meeting to see if they see it the same way. Thank you for your comment. Okay. Are there any others? I don't see that part of the screen.
There are no other requests for public comment at the moment.
Okay, great. Then I will, at this point, we will now, before we adjourn to a closed session, Mr. Polk, could you please let attendees know how much CPD credit they can claim for participation or for attendance at this meeting and how to do so?
Yes, thank you for attending the licensure meeting today. For attending the full duration of today's meeting, 1.75 hours under CPD category number 1, attendance at a Board of Psychology meeting can be credited. For your record, please notate today's date as January 31st, 2025, the name of today's meeting, which is Licensure Committee Meeting, and 1.75 hours for your records. For attendees who joined by phone and called the U.S. toll phone number, please send an email to bopce@dca.ca.gov. Again, that is bopce@dca.ca.gov with your name, license number, and the phone number of the phone you called in from. Attendees who signed in using a computer or a mobile device from the WebEx link, your attendance is automatically documented and no further information is necessary. For any attendees who are in person at the physical locations, please sign out before leaving today's meeting. And that includes the CPD, how to report your hours, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Polk. The Licensure Committee will now meet in closed session to discuss and consider qualifications for licensure. A reminder that at the conclusion of closed session, we will only reconvene to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for attending our meeting. I hope you have found listening to the conversation helpful in providing a little additional understanding of how the Board of Psychology works. So thank you again.